Good evening, Internet, and welcome to the tables. We are bringing you Dia, champion of the Shiva group, and Flurry, the champion of the Sylph group. Both made their way here pretty aggressively, pretty solidly, and they're going to give us a nice solid show tonight. We have Asuka handling the restream here, and Alazel handling tracking. I am Hupfin, and joining me in the booth is our lovely Dijon Ketchup. Dijon, how's it going?
Doing all right. I survived Yom Kippur, and everything's great.
There you go. This set of objectives might be great, or it might be horrifying. Given what we're looking at here, we have, as always, the forging the Excalibur. We also have to defend Fabul, trade away the Pink Tail, and drop the Magma Key in the well. In other words, we might not have to leave the surface of the Earth at all.
That'll definitely be interesting if that ends up happening, for sure.
Yeah, the odds are a little low, given there are 3 key items involved in all of that, but there are enough key item locations on the surface, so we may end up seeing a jet, and historically that's been the sort of thing that Dia has really benefited from the races that I've seen her do or commentated for her. She is really strong on those really fast objective sets and character sets.
Yeah, and how fast it goes will also heavily depend on if the path shows up, or if they do end up having to get the Darkness Crystal to go to the moon and go to Zeromus the long way.
Yeah, the classic way, but also the way that would let you do, a D-machine grind. Things, little important things like having enough levels to actually beat the boss.
Yeah. Details.
Details.
Just find an Edward somewhere, and you don't need any of those levels.
I mean, Dia has definitely shown she is capable of it. I would not put it past Flurry either. And fortunately, you can hold off if you do happen to find that Edward. You can wait until just the right time. Since we are in the table round, the rules have changed a little bit from when we were doing our group stages earlier. Dijon, do you want to go over some of the changes as our runners get started?
Yeah, so, since we're seeing our joining characters at the start, we'll just go into how the characters work. Now, this mode, or flag set rather, has permajoin, which means when a character joins your party, including your partner character at the beginning, you have a chance to select whether or not you want them to join your party. But if you select yes, they cannot leave your party. They cannot be replaced. But unlike the group stage, characters that you dismiss and don't take into your party do go to Mysidia, where you can pick them up later. Aside from that, there's a few different flags that are have been changed. The shops are, I believe, pro. And I had another thing right behind that in my head, and it just went away.
I mean, the character change is definitely the most prominent difference, as we see another Palom up here in the Watery Pass and a Porum over in Barren Inn. So a lot of children and a bard so far.
Definitely. And it'll be interesting to see if they'll want to take Porum for a white mage or hold out and see if a Rosa shows up.
Yeah, because again, you don't really want a ton of white mages in your party. One is usually all you want, but you want that one to be Rosa. And if you're grabbing your Porum, when the opportunity arises, well, you're probably feeling stuck with her. Starting off with Palom, a little bit of an advantage there, as this whole tournament, you want to have a black mage somewhere, and usually you want him.
Yeah, Palom, affectionately known as Quake Kid, learns Quake fairly early on, which is a very powerful um, magic attack in most cases.
Yeah, and then there's always Nuke as you get him leveled up even further. So far, our runners have really wanted to see a black mage because those are the ones that learn warp and can execute the warp glitch, which, hey, that's a free item that keeps you out of the sealed cave. That's also not an option anymore.
Yeah.
So, you still want black mages for their black mage power, but you gotta do that long walk if you want the item in there. Dia finding that Yang over in Damsian and saying, not yet. That was our first real physical damage dealer that we've spotted so far. But she's going to hold off, see if there's other free characters that might be a little more appealing.
While Yang makes a good punch mage, there are physical attackers that are better than him. So, not taking him immediately, probably a good call.
Yeah, I have a feeling we're going to see him. Well, we saw him twice up there on Mount Hobbs, so we'll let him deal with his problems, I guess. But yeah, there's enough physical damage dealers in the game and likely to appear in the seed. We don't have any specific constraints around characters showing up or not showing up. He's kind of going to get relegated as we get into the table stages. I see players are going to be less likely to take him, even if they're now seeing the third Yang being forced upon them over in Mysidia.
Looks like a Porum. This is like all twins and all Yangs, apparently.
Now it looks like you have to go up ordeals to find the white mage that you want, as there's Rosa just hanging.
And Fleury wastes no time in accepting her. Because the earlier you can start leveling her, the better, because when you get into those high levels is when you get Cure 4 and White if you end up going that far up.
Yes, a strong enough grind, and if you happen to find Rosa late and can slingshot her, that just becomes a faster way to get there. That's a pretty powerful spell that, if you're doing Reflect strats on Zeromus, contributes quite a bit. And so far, this is looking like a party that might end up having to do Reflect strats out of necessity.
Yeah, it's looking like that.
And of course, with all these free characters, there are still a few more locations to check that aren't as free. So our runners will probably be looking out for the hook, not just for the pink tail objective, but also to get that character at Eblin. And as much as we like to think that, hey, maybe we can have a seed where you don't have to go underground, we start with the Tower Key, and there's the character at the Dwarf Castle as well. So when you're thinking about rounding out the party, you're probably looking there.
Yeah, and in going the opposite direction, you got the free character up on the moon when you enter the lunar subterrane.
Yep, but of course we need some items for both of those locations, and Dia needs to take out a wyvern to clear out this antlion cave.
Oh, not fast enough to get that Star Veil off.
Yeah, the good news is we do start with that little basic kit of items, so you do have a Star Veil on hand. You might have to set things just to Wyvern Standard Time, as we say, to have any chance of actually getting it off.
Yeah, but, luckily in this spot, once you get it off, just that one reflected Mega Nuke is going to be enough to take out the small HP pool in this slot.
Yep, this is one of the earlier spots in the game. Only 1,000 HP on this Antlion, so whatever's in the spot, that's all you gotta do to it. Well, unless it's a boss with like split, and then the math happens, and we're not about to do math.
Math is... You got math in my Final Fantasy.
Math is not necessary when you have Wyvern Standard Time. And an Avenger Sword that nobody can use yet.
It'd be great if they can find a Kain somewhere in the seed.
Kain or Cecil, both of those would be fine to have. We did find a light sword earlier on in, I believe, Damcian. Some of the looting that I believe both of the runners did. So you've got decent gear, at least on the weaponry front, if you happen to have a paladin. It looks like Dia is going to go for our first objective of the run so far, going and taking care of the full defense. Not fading this, and, well, we'll see if she actually goes up and does it, and doesn't just do shopping. But with 2 knocked out party members, the free heal is nice.
Also, life potions there. Pretty good find. One of those, like, necessity items throughout this game.
Oh, absolutely. Even if you've got a white mage in your party, you're going to want those either for convenience or for backup or for your grind.
We got the Magus Sisters here at Fabul.
And Fleury, meanwhile, is through that Wyvern at Antlion and had his Palom survive it, so his Palom is now starting to kick around some tier 2 magic. Yeah, that boy learned spells pretty fast.
Yeah, definitely why Palom is very much loved for the early game. Fleury not sure what he wants to do when faced with 2 Yongs and decides to reset.
And Dia forced to reset out of the Fabul defense. Those Magus Sisters are packing a bit of a punch.
Looks like she's gonna re-grab her life potions and get out of there for a while.
Yeah, very understandable. I'm honestly not as familiar. I know, in general, when we shuffle around the bosses, they kind of take up the stats of whatever boss was there. So your magic defense, your magic evade, and so forth. The Fabul defense is kind of a unique and awkward one, so I'm not entirely sure how this magic power is being decided.
Yeah, it's a tricky one because of how it's the gauntlet that's normally here, so I don't fully understand it.
Yeah, honestly, I would have walked into this and not been that terrified of the fight, but as we saw with Dia, it can be a bit rude. Fleury having a bit of luck with casting some magic and getting a bit more power out of the arrows.
Dia went to do some shopping in Troya, found Star Veils, and then came back to Fabul, so she's gonna try some different stats, but...
Yeah, I also found those dancing daggers, which are not going to be the best possible option against mages. You want the mute dagger, but dancing dagger is still pretty solid choice.
fun when you have like the Maga Sisters in a spot where like all three of their overworld sprites show up.
Yeah, really brings the family together.
Yeah.
Really shows you, they're working as a unit. And just absolutely destroying Palom.
Well, Fleury makes it through, finds the hook. Definitely not our preferred method of getting to the underworld, especially with Magma Key being an objective.
Yeah, very true. We'll see how long he decides to hold off on visiting the Eblin Cave. Again, there is a character there. It could be someone that you really want to have in the group, but those boss fights could also be pretty rude. So you might want to take a little bit of time, look for another fight or two before you go too far down.
Dia looking to have a bit more luck this time.
Now Fleury is moving that hovercraft immediately. Gonna head down to the Eblin Caves. There's also these gated shops down here, so you might be a little interested in what they might have in store. Again, this being T Pro, S Pro, you want to hit up these gated spots as early as you can.
That's definitely a good call. Doesn't look like he saw anything he wanted there, though.
Yeah, nothing terribly special. Some decent mid-tier gear, but nothing that you're gonna start figuring out your finances for.
Well, Dia's got her hook, and both our runners are already on the board with one objective, less than 15 minutes into this seed. Oh, look who it is!
I think the game wants you to take a yaw.
Oh, goodness.
I feel like Final Fantasy IV is just like, hey, the monk class. It's a really good character class. You should try it. You should try it. You should try it.
I mean, that Eblin cave shop did have fire claws in it.
It did, although that's what he comes with. If it really wanted to sell us, it would have Thunder Claws.
Yeah.
Let's be real.
Yeah. It's just subliminal messaging.
Both of our runners have taken the hint that no, let's go up and do ordeals instead. There's an Octomom up here. That's a much more appealing sight than another Yang.
Yeah. Octopus just casually swimming in the mountain top. One of the sillier boss sprites to replace.
I mean, pretty much no matter where Octomom shows up, it's going to be a little goofy.
Yeah.
But both runners have lit 2 on their respective Paloms, so dishing out a decent amount of damage here.
Yeah, definitely not gonna be a threatening spot for Octomom. For either of them.
And it's the back attack that we need to be a little more concerned about. So, of course, both runners doing the responsible thing and saving first.
D-Lunars.
Yeah, not something you want to see here, I would say.
Yeah. Not a fan.
So yeah, any back attack fight is going to get that little speed boost, as it were, getting that first round of attacks in. I don't know what kind of strategy you really want to take here. Flurry going with those fire attacks, using that big bomb and some fire twos. I think Dia looks like covering the same approach.
Yeah, Diaz thrown out some fire too.
Actually looks to be using Cure 2 as an offensive tool. These are zombies.
Yeah. Healing spells definitely do not heal the undead. They do quite the opposite. So you'll see that used a lot in D-Lunars, in Mylon Z.
Yeah, not as effective with the bosses in this game. Generally speaking, there just aren't that many undead bosses, but it can be handy in a pinch against random encounters or depending where you get an all gauntlet. But all we're getting up here is a Dragoon Spear.
Plague.
Honestly, not a bad spot to find it at. This fight should be over very quickly, so never have to worry about the countdown. But
Yeah,
there,
this is
yeah.
a very low HP spot.
But yeah, you want to see something like Ogopogo here, something scary, because it's such a low HP spot that it can't be somewhere that it's really scary.
Yeah.
And Alicel pointing out in chat that we did see that sparkle going down into Eblin, and we've seen a good share of the moon bosses already. So yeah, either that magma key is available. I think Ogopogo is one of the banned bosses in terms of preventing underground. Not 100% sure. Or it's Pale Dim, which is annoying but doable. Oh, Ogopogo is not banned, it's just awful. Okay. I know, like, Valvelus and I think Golbez. I only remember Valvelus and...
I believe it's Val, Golbez, Wyvern.
Yeah. And I always remember Dark Knight Cecil if you have no free bosses on, which we do have free bosses here. But if you play with that off...
Oh, looks like we know Mylon and Friends is in the waterfall cave.
Yeah, Flurry being thorough, checking these kind of lonely boss spots, probably hoping for, in this case, vanilla D-Mist, just to get that kind of information. It's a vanilla D-Mist. Okay.
All right. Well, sure. I guess the seed had to be generous somewhere.
Yep, now Flurry is able to go to the Mist Village and speak with Rydia's mom, and knowing how the seed is gone, somehow get another Yang, even though it's supposed to be a key item or similar.
Oh, that's handy.
Yeah, that, depending how the routing goes, that could be a huge advantage for Flurry.
Yeah. We'll see if Dia thinks to look for Vanilla D-Mist.
But again, depending where... Actually, as I say that, as I think about that, that pass is going to be advantageous. Even if there are key items up on the moon, you're going to have to come back to Earth to redeem them, no matter what they are. So, if our runners are going to the moon, they're making a trip back.
This is true. There are no objectives that can be completed while you're in space. But for now, we have a double gauntlet happening.
Yep, all manner of fish and alligator, crocodile, whatever fang shell is supposed to be, some kind of mollusk. They've all just invaded the tavern.
That's, they really need to hire a bouncer.
I guess, or they really need to look into the plumbing, one or the other. But yeah, this is the Fabul Gauntlet fight moved around, and we bring with it just random encounters from the nearby area. In this case, the Barren Waterway.
Yep. Because generally, you don't find random encounters in the Barren Inn.
I mean, maybe the first time that you're playing Final Fantasy IV and you see Yang there in the guards, that might feel like a bit of a random encounter. You might be like, what's going on here? Why are you angry at me?
Oh, now we got worms.
Oh, yeah, that we should get that resolved. Should get that looked at.
Yeah. Might want to call him Plumber.
Yeah. We'll speak with the Barren Inn management later.
It's probably why you get to stay there for free after you do this fight.
It's like, yeah, have a night on us. Just don't talk about it. Don't tell anyone.
Don't call the health inspector.
As Dia threw the gauntlet and straight into Valvolus.
That's
This is gonna be a tough one to deal with.
this is gonna be a fun one with a team of mages.
But Virus is hitting.
Yeah?
And that's critical. Valvolus has a tendency to get pretty high magic evade. Also has a tendency to cast that weak and that Ray, which Ray's not so bad, but that weak could quickly become difficult to manage if Dia doesn't just knock out Valvolus right quick.
Oh, and we've got one half of objective number 1.
Yeah, but unfortunately we are pretty low on options other than the hook route.
Yeah.
And by low I mean we're out. Like,
Yeah.
go do the hook.
Yes, which means that if they do find the magma key, we get the best cutscene.
That is true. We get some of the best writing in the game.
Oh, and there goes Dia finding that vanilla demist. Immediately resets out of it, expecting it to not be demist, I guess. Yep, she goes right back in.
Reflexes get you sometimes.
Yeah.
But honestly, this is looking like the two are pretty evened up at this stage. Dia's gonna go get her pass out of this. Fleury is gonna deal with these cutscenes and a little nap.
I guess Dia's gonna go check the shop first.
Yeah, check the shops. Maybe check the Sand Ruby character just to see
Oh,
what's out
Silkwood.
there.
That'll be.
And there's our paladin in the bed.
Oh. If they find the Sand Ruby, question is, will she come back and get that paladin, or does she not want a paladin? Because we do have vanilla agility on.
Yeah, that is a very important thing to remember. So long as you don't have Cecil in your party, whatever character is closest to the middle slot is the one that determines agility in terms of boss speed and relative turn order and all of that stuff. The moment you pick up Cecil, it's Cecil. He decides it all, just like he does in the vanilla game.
And of course, with permajoin, you can't get rid of them.
But Dia is going to head down into Eblin Cave and realize that you can't get rid of Yong either on this seed.
Yeah, we've got Dia heading through the underground route with a party of 3, and unless Fleury goes back and takes someone, he's gonna be stuck with a party of 2.
Well, he is heading over to Mysidia, so maybe deciding to, yeah, it's time to take a third character, you know? There's a certain symmetry to the Room of Wishes.
Yeah. He's deciding if he really wants a Yong. Looks like he's gonna take Palom and Yong.
Oh, wow.
Leaving the 5th slot open, though.
Dia, however, no interest in the monk. At least so far.
Yeah. May get to the point where that's really your only choice, because the seed won't stop throwing Yong at you. Oops, all Yong.
I mean, that is a strategy that you could employ on the Zeromus fight if you really wanted to. He does get incredible amounts of HP over the course of his levels, so I mean, it's one form of power overwhelming, I guess.
Yeah. And I mean, if you're not in a position to nuke all the big bangs that Zeromus is gonna throw at you, having a lot of HP is the second best thing.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I don't expect those to be strategies that either of our runners go for, and I don't know that those are strategies that will ever win you a race, but they are strategies.
Yeah. It is a thing you could do if you chose.
I mean, a bad idea is still an idea, and an evil wall is still a wall.
Even though the overworld sprite is a door.
But it looks like Dia is extremely not interested in that. So not interested that she leaves the Eblin Cave entirely.
Yeah, she noped the heck out so far that she went back in time before the pass. but she's gonna grab it again. Not sure where else she's gonna go, though.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like you have to take a little bit of time to kit yourself out a bit better, and that might mean grabbing a Yang. He might just be equipment in that sense. So yeah, she's going over to Silvera. She's checking out every possible shop, looking for anything that will make this fight more manageable with a 3-mage party.
Like some fire arrows.
And fire arrows certainly better than iron in terms of raw damage.
Ether wands, which, you know, not as good as Ether 2, but still good to have when your party is entirely mages. So either she's gonna be stubborn and not take a Yang, or she's just gonna grab the one that's in the waterway.
She might have full-on dismissed that one. But in the meantime, she's going to go and check out the castle. There are the 3 random encounters in here. So that is an opportunity for some grinding. So we see Fleury kind of doing the same, taking on these Mad Ogres.
Mad Ogre's definitely a popular choice for getting some levels when you have to take the hook route. Especially if you utilize the life glitch, because you can double 3 of those experience gains.
Yeah, and Mad Ogres are a pretty good source of XP for each one. Dia's handling the Black Cat Lamia setup and not even really bothering with the life glitch, but you know, you have a little bit of struggle just keeping your party alive on their own, let alone casting life. Yeah, Lamia just punches too hard.
Yeah. It looks like Fleury's not going for the life glitch either. Did not use a life on that first Mad Ogre. Although he's barely staying alive as it is, so...
Yeah, these are rough fights to have to deal with. This Mad Ogre fight, in particular, that coffin just now helped a bit. But with this formation, if you knock out that front one, you've now got 2 Mad Ogres that are in the front row of their formation. It's a little more dangerous.
Yeah, the trap chests are nothing to scoff at, and they are one of several reasons why a lot of racers will just avoid chests altogether outside of the very beginning of the game.
Yeah, those areas, there's no enemies in the chests, and depending on your flag set, that can mean that the treasure there is skewed a little less valuable. But staying alive is probably more valuable than any treasure you can find.
And it was that day that we learned that our life was the real treasure. Maybe the real treasure was the friends we made along the way.
It clearly wasn't the Youngs that we met because we didn't take anything. Dia gets through that Black Cat Lamia fight, a little bit of stop spell, and gets, well, a Ninja Star, whatever, gets Quake on at least one Palom. And I guess that's all she's interested in.
See how her... Oh, no, she went back to heal.
Yeah, reasonable.
Ooh, Flurry does not like the looks of that wall either. Can't say I blame either of them, but oh my gosh, they're hitting a literal wall here.
They, yes. Never has Free Enterprise been so literal. I love it.
Flurry reloading before he took his party, grabbing Edward this time.
That is an interesting alternative choice. Edward does have the ability to hide, which can spare you from a number of dangerous scenarios.
Is this one of the spots where the wall can destroy itself?
You know, I haven't the faintest clue, but I sure hope it is.
Yeah. Chat saying yes, it is. Very much.
So yes, there is an interesting thing that the evil wall does. I don't know how much of it is a glitch versus a quirk in the programming versus the developers never intended it to work this way. If your entire party is knocked out, except for Edward, who is hiding, the wall just beats itself up.
Yep.
And you know, there's nobody there to say, stop hitting yourself, so it just keeps doing it.
And eventually the wall brings itself down. So, yep, utilizing Edward against the evil wall here is going to be a smart choice. Though it does leave him with an Edward that may not be as useful later on, that he cannot get rid of. Because... And most of his utility is gone because the spoon flag is no longer on in these flags. So if he finds that spoon, Edward can't do anything with it.
Yeah, I feel like if you're Flurry, you're deciding we're gonna go with Eddie knocking down this wall, and then he's just gonna be on the floor with the rubble for the remainder of the seed. And we're just gonna hope that he is slow enough naturally to work as an anchor.
Seems pretty likely.
Which is a very viable strategy. You've got to decide to do it early on in your time with Eddie, just because his agility growth is actually pretty good. So the longer you have him gaining levels, the more likely that he's just going to be too high agility to really offset.
There's also the possibility, if he gets 2 more objectives fast enough, he could do the Eddie strats.
The infamous Eddie strats. I think it would depend on what kind of 5th character you get for this party, to be able to just maintain everything that you're trying to go for with that, but, you know, not impossible. And, you know, when's the last time we saw a grudger in a free enterprise race? When's the next time we see a grudger in a free enterprise race? Because I don't know that it's gonna be tonight.
Yeah. We didn't even finish off that one. Triple Mad Ogre encounter, that's not bad.
Yeah, it's a little rude, but it's a known quantity, but nope, not the one that Fleury wants to deal with right now.
I get the feeling that after this, Dia and Fleury are gonna want to have words with Asuka.
Yeah, I don't think I could blame either of them at that point. That's the thing, you can never really judge how a seed's gonna go looking at the objectives and the starting character. It
And we
looked
thought
like
this was gonna be a jet seed.
it very well could have been. The pieces were all there. We just had to not have to deal with the underworld. And oh boy, do we have to deal with the underworld.
I don't know. We're not even dealing with it yet. We're still stuck trying to get there.
We're dealing with the in world, I guess. We've gone from on to in. We haven't even gotten under.
The mid world?
That works. I don't know that Sid has any children in this game, but that works. Don't they usually name Sid's son Mid in like a bunch of the games when he has children?
You know, I'm not entirely sure. I can't think of ones where he has children. And of course, like, my brain always defaults to the Kingdom Hearts Sid for some reason.
It's a perfectly valid Sid. But Dia has made it back down to where the evil wall resides.
This time with more levels and a Yong.
Well, there was a Yong.
Well, yeah. Okay, apparently Sid has a daughter in.
Ah. Yeah, I'm not fully 100% versed on all my Sids and their lineage. I just know that some of them have kids. Anyway, that's the kind of conversation that we apparently have to have while we figure out how to deal with Evil Wall at the Evelyn Royalty spot.
Oh, goodness. This is a seed.
This is definitely a thing that's happening here. Yeah, those are just incredibly strong punches.
Oof. God, that Palom got hit for like triple its health.
Yeah, that Rosa took 400 in the back row with heroin robe on.
Gosh.
It's really starting to look like Fleury's approach of just try to get Edward to hide. That might be the only way through this without just dramatically large amounts of grinding.
Yeah, and like you can't even get to any of the popular grind spots. Because there's no... We're not underground for the eggs. You can't... There's no whale for D-Machine.
Yeah, or Mac Giant. Those are both out of the question right now.
Yeah.
You can't even go down to the sealed cave and deal with the doors.
No, because we got a wall.
And that wall is beating itself up over on Fleury's side.
Yep.
It is working. Dia, meanwhile, trying to tough it out, has to reset. Fleury is through.
Oof.
But of course, that sparkle means we are nowhere near the end of our trials here. Fortunately, if it is Pale Dim, we have the spells. to deal with it and not worry too much about its resistance, its elemental affinities, and all that. If it's Ogopogo, well, that's just rude.
Yeah, given how this seed has been going so far, I'm expecting a nope rope and nothing less.
Oh yeah. No, this is going to be extremely noodly.
Uh... This is just... This might violate the Geneva Convention.
We have to call that Twitter account. But yes, that double tap of whatever the wave attack is, I can't even remember the name anymore. That's guaranteed. You're always going to start this fight at half your HP. Just big wave. Yeah. I'm sorry, I can't even remember the names of things after seeing this.
Well, Dia beat the wall. Please go save, Dia. Don't
Yes.
don't try to YOLO it. Okay.
You never YOLO a sparkle at Rubicante. You just never do it.
Like, unless you can guarantee which one it is, and it's one you can take. But even then, like...
Yeah. This spot has a fair amount of HP. So it's... Even if it's, Plague, and it's the sort of fight that there are strategies, there are ways to handle easily. It's a lot of health, pretty good speed, very scary even with that.
Yeah... Edward's not gonna hide his way out of 25,000 hit points this time.
No, but unfortunately Yang isn't gonna punch his way out of several hundred HP of damage.
It's like Dia just trying blink strats now, which not a bad choice, all things considered.
Yep, that will spare you from 2 physical attacks for a given target. Does not spare you from magic. So Big Wave still going to do a quarter of your HP per hit. Fortunately, I do think the numbers are low enough that just the big waves, I feel like Rosa could manage it. The problem is then you have nobody who can cast Blink.
Yeah. Dia turning her battle speed down.
Yeah, we had to do it once already for Wyvern. Might as well do it again. No, we have not seen Iridia. The characters that we have seen thus far are the ones appearing on on your screen across the 2 parties, and a Porum. And that's it. Well, we know there's a Cecil in the bed, but we don't have a Sand Ruby. We can't get a Paladin yet.
Yep, this is, Should we ban Asuka from rolling seeds?
Honestly, I'm sitting here like, welcome to the tables. You're gonna be some of the best free enterprise players out there. We're gonna throw the kitchen sink at you. And that kitchen sink is attached to an evil wall. And Ogopogo fits in this metaphor somehow.
Just the support rope holding the wall up. It's one of those. It's one of those walls from the theater where it goes up into the wings and then they bring it down.
You know, I could go with this.
I might have been a theater kid.
I mean, considering I had nowhere to take that metaphor, I appreciate the bailout. Dia does have a pair of blinks going somewhat consistently, so it can at least handle the physical attacks. Just has to deal with those big waves as they come out, and of course keeping everything topped off. Fleury is managing 3 blinks, and barely holding it down. This is the sort of fight that is just incredibly nerve-wracking for a runner. The moment something goes awry, like we just saw with Dia, that misplaced virus, that knocks off all your time spent, and the longer this goes on, the more of an investment it is, the more that becomes a danger. We did see what she was going for there, having done several bluffs, gotten a Palom up to where a virus cast would be pretty strong, and reflecting it to make sure it doesn't trigger any counter scripts, any counterattacks from Ogopogo. So, very reasonable approach. I feel like Fleury is taking a very similar one himself. You just have to be careful not to misclick.
I wonder if both runners are thinking that the other one got through this already, like, long ago.
That's certainly a worry that you're going to have at any given point. You know, once you start struggling with something, you're worried that your opponent didn't. I feel like Dia and Fleury, they're both very good runners, very experienced. They know a difficult seed when they see one. And there's no way to look at this seed and not think, okay, you've got to have either an incredible strat or incredible luck to be that much further ahead than I am. So yeah, I would expect both of our runners are very worried with where they are right now, but they're probably more worried about, like we just saw with Fleury, your defenses start falling apart. Not that your opponent necessarily had some grand strategy that got them away from this whole thing. And we have seen enough of the overworld. We know this is required. Both of our runners are aware of that. Demus has not only been checked but been found. Demus was vanilla on this seed and led to the pass that both of our runners currently have. So they have both done that check and gotten that information. They know there is nothing lingering outstanding. Zot is unavailable at this stage. They've both gone through ordeals, both done Fabul, done Antlion, done the Baron Inn. So we're stuck here.
This is it.
So yeah, there are a lot of possible angles you can take here. Leveling up Yang, just doing an aggressive grind, very time consuming, very annoying to do. You have to make sure you do it with Rosa in tow, because this is Ogopogo. Yang, like we mentioned, gets a lot of HP pretty swiftly. These big waves will do a quarter of your health no matter what that number is. And after a while, Rosa's curing wouldn't be able to keep up. Man, Fleury is taking the punch mage. That's his 5 for this seed.
Yep.
He grabbed that Edward for Evil Wall, made it work, but is now stuck with a Bard.
Yeah, I guess we'll see how he ends up handling everything else.
Dia, meanwhile, has gotten a number of reflected virus casts off, but at this point, that Rosa going down, that Palom, his blink is going to run out.
This is...
Yep.
God, this is rough.
I honestly think this is the roughest seed that I've seen in Threemus Zone. Maybe at all. Maybe this single roughest.
Yeah, this is...
Meanwhile, Asuka's just in chat like, I made this.
I don't know, maybe it's just me, but like, I give these two a lot of credit because if I were playing this seed and at the 1 hour mark was stuck entirely by this nope rope, I might rage quit.
Oh yeah, no, this is reasonable people will abandon this, and they will be reasonable for doing so.
Hey, RPG Limit Break, thanks for the raid. Welcome to this.
Yes, well, welcome from the other table race this evening. Please join and warm yourselves on this dumpster fire.
Yeah. Sometimes you just get an hour in and no one's underground, and Ogopogo is blocking the only way that you can go.
Yep, as a
And Rubicante.
as a summary of what we've seen so far, yes, Dia is fighting Ogopogo at Rubicante. It is the only way underground. We do have to get underground. Both of our runners are aware of this, as they have checked everywhere else on Earth. They have even gone so far as to find a vanilla D-Mist and get the item off of that fight. You'll notice that our parties are a bit mage-heavy. That's your only option. The only options for physical damage have been Yang. And I guess technically Edward, but really it's Yang. We've seen 3 of them. Along with 2 well, there's a crystal sword. We have seen a paladin in the bed, but no Sand Ruby.
Yeah, and he's got a full party anyway, so...
Yeah.
Guess he's just gonna take it to sell it.
Yeah, that's almost an insult at this point. So yeah, Fleury got through the evil wall that was at King Queen Eblin. That was a thing. Using that Edward that is now just sitting in his party, doing some very nice hiding strats to make the wall tear itself down. Dia has just been brute forcing and getting through by the skin of her teeth. But that'll only carry you so far.
There's only so much that sheer willpower and determination can do against an Ogopogo at Rubicante.
Yep. And yes, with this being the table settings, you know, you don't have to take a character the moment you see them. They will go to the tower. The Tower of Wishing if you dismiss them. But if you take them, you're taking them. They ain't leaving. Ogo, though. Ogopogo is leaving.
Oh my gosh. Oh. We get to see more of this seed. And I don't want to know how much worse it's gonna get. Asuka, you have broken me. And I'm not even playing. Oh.
Well, I think we can safely say that puts Dia at a certain advantage. I think it's safe to say. Oh, there's Rubicante. He's on the wrong side of the tower.
Well, it could be elements.
True. So yes, that finally gives Dia some underground access, more checks that she could do, more character checks. She does still have 1 spot in her party, so if there is another Cecil or a Kane, someone to do more powerful attacking, she can actually take them. Fleury, meanwhile, has been clearing out Eblin Castle, gets the heroine robe that Dia was using earlier to get through the wall. That will help with Rosa as a battler, but with the way this Ogopogo fight has been going, you're not equipping that yet.
Yeah, not even checking the shop, going straight into the Dwarf Castle bosses. That's gonna be a Kanatsu.
That is indeed going to be a Kanazo. I would say it's a reasonable enough fight, but after that Ogopogo at Rubicante, everything seems at least vaguely reasonable.
Yeah.
I take it back, that's not reasonable. Stop that, turtle.
Well, that's fun.
Yeah, one Quake, not enough to push Kanazo into the shell, so this wave is going to happen and is going to do a reasonable amount of damage. Survivable, but definitely noticeable.
Well, not survivable for that top palm.
I mean, to be fair, that top palm was punched pretty hard in the first place.
Yeah.
I don't even know if she has any sort of like Thor Rage or any
Not sure.
lightning items, but is definitely not bothering to do a Lit 1 cast, just going straight for Quake, trying to mitigate the damage that these waves will do.
Yeah, I think she's just trying to get through sheer damage rather than trying to...
Yeah, I mean, that will carry you. I guess deciding that Yang is not going to be of service, I'm going to leave him on the floor as an anchor.
I mean, I could think of worse uses for Yang.
Yeah, I mean, at base level, he is, not the slowest character for sure, but slow enough to be reasonable. And as chat points out, there is always the slingshotting option. He gets... We call him Punch Mage because he gets very strong with levels, the way mages do. So he is a good candidate for a slingshot. But
yeah, it gets through the Kanato. Hey, she learned Warp just in time to not use the glitch because it's not a big flags.
That's a very specific kind of insult, as is that bard. I mean, he's styling, but he's not wanted. Fortunately, the Golbez spot is not too scary on really any measure. Magic power, physical power, not that bad. So long as Antlion, just gonna be able to handle it pretty naturally.
Yeah, it's a pretty scripted fight in vanilla, so that spot is kind of, I guess, middling on everything.
Yeah, the stats aren't the thing that scares you. What's supposed to scare you is the Shadow Dragon coming and consuming your party. Antlion doesn't have a Shadow Dragon on command.
Be weird if it did, but it does have a red floating hand.
That's still weird.
Yeah.
Yes, all that said, Dia does get through with the Dwarf Castle. We'll see what Luca had was a Twin Harp. So, okay, that's another check.
Hey. So, maybe we'll get music tonight.
Yeah, honestly, at this point, you've got the Feymarch freebie, you've got the 2 checks of Tower, Sheila 1. If you happen to cross the pan in the process of all this, I guess Sheila 2. There are the 2 bosses in the Feymarch, and if you've managed to get through that Ogopogo, you might feel like you're ready for anything. But those are still scary fights. So there are a lot of checks you can do before deciding to take on whatever is in Cave Magnus, before attempting to deliver music. As Chad is pointing out, Dia's audio is not functionally available, so we won't actually get to hear it from her. Hopefully, then, it is required, so we get to hear it from Fleury at least. But there's plenty to do before that, and Dia has chosen to take on the tower.
Yeah, because that tower key was pretty early.
Meanwhile, Fleury on the other side of the tower, handling Ogopogo a bit better this time, having gotten a number of levels. Ziyong already over 1,000 HP. That doesn't mean his level is high, that just means he's Yong.
Yep, it is the leg.
And it looks like Dia's approach is just to make that leg quiver with fear and or quake. There are, of course, things you can do with Fire and Ice Elemental to take more advantage of Rubicant's typing and do extra damage, but you have to have the timing right for it. Quake requires no timing. Quake is just Quake.
He is like, screw that, I have Quake.
I'll be honest, I tend to be a little vague about when do you use ice on Rubicant, when do you use the fire, because just Quake or Virus, just do something that doesn't require thinking.
I forget which one. Sometimes I forget which one is when the cloak is open and when it's closed.
Meanwhile, Fleury is still trying to tackle this Ogopogo, getting a good number of reflected viruses off. Those are really his main source of damage, even with a Zerked Yang. It's really just about bouncing those spells and then keeping those cures going to make sure the party survives.
Yeah, meanwhile, Dia gets a Darkness Crystal.
Well, that's, I was about to say that's required, but we do have the pass, so might be able to get through the sea without it, but it's very nice to have regardless.
Especially if she doesn't find whatever character she's looking for, she can check the moon for it. Though there's always the possibility that she thinks she's behind because of how long Evil Wall and Ogopogo took.
Yeah, that would be a very reasonable perspective to have. We just know up here in the booth that's not actually the case. She is pretty well ahead right now, gets through the Super Cannon fight said as if it would be any sort of resistance whatsoever.
As the freest of free fights. Because the space is free because it has, like, no HP. And then the, that boss itself is super free.
Yeah, I think that spot only has like 300 or 400 HP, something very low. And a reminder, Antlion, a very early game boss slot has 1,000. So we're talking very small numbers. Pretty much anything you see there is a gimme. So of course that's a wonderful spot to find Golbez in. Dr. Cossack corrected me, it's more along 600. I thought the Dark Imps had more like 100 per, not 200 per.
Leave it to a mean seed like this to give you, like, the freest fight in the freest slot.
And give you a package for doing it. We know we're not boss hunting, we know that's not an objective. The only thing you would want to get out of that is a character, and of our two runners, Dia is the only one who has any space for somebody.
At this point, she might think that she's far enough behind that she doesn't have the time to do it. Which, to be fair, in the table flags, you would probably always not want to go for something as out of the way as that anyway.
Yeah, you bother to check what the character is going to be, but that's about it. We do see Vanilla Asura, who has brought Dr. Luge on as the king of some of the monsters.
King Dr. Luge.
I worry that he's going to just amass more titles for himself and just make addressing him really obnoxious. He seems like the kind of guy who would do that.
Sir King Dr. Luge the Third Esquire. Attorney at Law. DDS.
Meanwhile, in other unsensible scenarios, Fleury has defeated Ogopogo. So Fleury is finally through, down to the underground at about an hour 20 into the seed, which, yes, that is a fair bit behind Dia. That is 2 entire areas behind. Given what he had to deal with, I wouldn't call it slow.
In this seed, time is an illusion. Dia, of course, not having the pan, just goes to trigger the first Sheila check, and... oh, she's actually going to check the package.
Yep.
Another
There are so many monks and children in this seed. Simply so many. I do believe we've now seen 2 of every twin. 3 Youngs, 2 Edwards. A reminder that there are no constraints on how many distinct characters could be in this seed. We do have C maybe, so we are not guaranteed to see every character. But it's not like it's 6 or 7 distinct.
Youngs, 2. 2 Edwards and a Cecil sleeping in the bed.
And a pink tail from Sheila. So there's
Hey.
objective 3.
Always check your freebies.
I mean, once you get past the incredibly high cost, yes, check the freebies. We should mention there was a power shirt in the freebie chest over in the Fame Arch. So no free key item out of that, but a power shirt would be nice to have if you're actually going to use your Yang for battle.
Yeah, launching the whale at Mysidia. Oh yeah, for people in chat mentioning the crystal sword, Flurry found a crystal sword off of one of the trap chests after having a full party.
Yep. We did see a light sword very early on, but, it is what it is. And at this point, at least for Flurry, it's money.
Flurry picking up a bunch of mute arrows.
And, those illusions would have been very nice to have before trying to get underground.
Yeah. Well, and invalidated the seed, didn't check the job dwarf. Alright, it's over. Shut it down.
That's how you know Flurry's upset with the seed.
Alright, who's on the moon?
Another bard.
The immediate reset. Oh. Oh.
Not since the origins of Moons Haunted has anybody left a moon so aggressively.
You could feel the reset across the airwaves.
I think we have seen every character spot except those in Zot, I believe.
And the one at the end of Giant.
And the one at the end of Giant that I always forget about. That is correct. We've only seen 6 different characters. There are 12 in this game. Granted, we have removed Fusoya from consideration, but still, 6 is far less than 11.
I think Dia might be setting up for a D-Machine grind.
That is what it looks like, doing this very precise step count out here in the fields outside Baron.
Someone in chat asking why she would pick up another white mage. If I had to guess, and this is just speculation on my part, given the limited roster of characters we've seen, she's probably going to slingshot that Forum up to get white and go full-on reflect strats. Seems very intent on keeping that Yang as an anchor.
Now, with this many encounters, I'm actually starting to think it might be Mac Giant grind. I feel like, from what I've seen and known of the D-Machine setup, you shouldn't need this many encounters before going off to the Giant.
I'm honestly not 100% familiar with the ins and outs of setting up the grind. I just know it has to do with the overworld stuff, so you could be right.
Yeah, they're I'll try to explain them as best as I can because I'm not entirely sure about them either, and they involve some very detailed knowledge of this game's random number generation. But you can basically use a little bit of time in the barren fields to get a sense of what the encounter table has been loaded as, and then use that information based on how many steps you've taken, how many fights you've had to do. That will let you know when you then go into the Giant what areas to turn encounters back on and what fight you're going to get first as a result. And usually, you'll see runners doing this to set up so that they fight the D machines, which are a classic, very solid grind if you have someone who can cast weak. There is a slightly different script, and I think that's what we've seen Dia doing here, to set up for the Mac Giant, which is an alternate fight. Doesn't really need weak as much. Still pretty dangerous. These are little dangerous of grinds to do, even if you're prepared. They are late game enemies, and you are not late game.
That's true. She would probably not be setting up for D Machine because she doesn't have weak. Because she hasn't found a Tella.
At this point, Tella probably doesn't exist in this scene, let's be real.
He's probably at the end of Giant, let's be real.
Okay, well, we do have a searcher. That is what you want to see when you're setting up for any of these grinds. The core of doing any of these giant grinds is that the searcher will respawn whatever enemy you're trying to grind off of, and you just get a lot of XP in a single fight, which is great for slingshotting.
Well, that was interesting. Had Yang Kamikaze on Forum.
Yeah, not surprised that Dia doesn't want Yang to get levels. Little surprised she doesn't want Porum to get any either. Or is just trying to make sure they're out of the way for the actual process of the grind. So once you don't...
Peach. I was gonna say, she could just be lifing her at the end.
Yeah, because that searcher will not do anything so long as you don't agitate it. But Dia has started to agitate. Fleury, meanwhile, probably feeling sufficiently agitated on his own, taking out the super cannon room, and Shirley is on his way up to the Rubicon fight at the top of tower. Now, with no Sid, no specific equipment to take advantage of Mac Giant being a machine or a giant, just having to swing a couple virus casts and hope for the best with the punches in return, those blinks are holding up well enough. Let's see, Fleury's strategy for taking on Rubicante only has one source, or wait, no, two sources of Quake kicking around. That's all the Quake you need, really. That is a very good question of how many giants Dia is going to need to actually complete this grind, and honestly, that kind of depends on what her target really is for the end of this grind. Like we would say, we kind of expect she'll go for getting white on Rosa. Might just be thinking, let's get these Palums up to Nuke and focus on having them reflect and having Rosa just manage the health.
Also, wouldn't be too shocked if she slingshots that forum up to white, because it feels like that would probably be the reason she grabbed the forum. But
Yeah, I'll be honest. I tend to bias towards the egg grind uh, when doing my
yeah,
own runs, and also I have not run table flags myself at all, so I haven't been forced into this kind of grind situation. So again, it's math that I'm just not prepared to do.
yeah, math is a lot.
That is part of what makes so many of these top tier runners, be at the level that they are, is they just have this information. They either know the numbers and can do that math on the fly, or they've just internalized it so well that they're not even thinking about it. They just kind of go off the intuition, and that intuition works.
Must
So,
be must be nice to have intuition.
well, Flurry is about to. I was gonna say about to see that it's not very nice to have that package, but full party. There's no reason to even look at it.
Yeah.
No, Flurry with that twin harp going immediately to Cave Magnus is going to lean on that, leading to an important key item. We know it won't lead to the pink tail. That was on Sheila 1, but we are still looking for that magma key or that adamant ore.
And of course, we're gonna get that music that everybody loves.
Yes, we don't know what music it is, but we know we love it. It's one of the lovely little playful things we randomize. And after dealing with that Ogopogo, you need all the joy you can get. Flurry taking a safety save just in case the fight here does not bring joy.
I mean, after everything this seed has thrown at him, I don't blame him.
I mean, we know Pale Dim is the only moon boss remaining, but, Golbez exists.
Yep. Sure does.
We'll go quiet for a moment so we can all enjoy the lovely tunes from yet another bard in this seed. I mean, at least we get some good music to go with the Golbez fight.
Right? I don't even know what to say anymore.
There is nothing that can be said. Not only is Golbez in this spot very annoying, he's got very high magic defense. We can't even quake him easily. And he kills the music. That was a good tune.
Why do you hate fun, Asuka? Oh, hey.
I mean, Yeg, he punch. Young punch. That's what he does. And gets you the Baron key.
Well, Dia's done with her grind. Looks like she, rezzed Young and Porum, so...
Mm-hmm. I'm seeing white, I'm seeing life too. She got some levels. She got a couple levels. That's a level 60 Porum. So it really raises the question of how is Dia going to anchor on Threemus?
Yeah, that's my question. Does she have like a cursed ring or something?
I think we have seen one in a treasure chest, but I don't remember where, and I don't remember if Dia picked it up. I think Fleury picked it up. Dia has decided that with those levels, it's time to visit the lunar subterrane. Again, we are at this point looking for one key item, either that magma key or that adamant ore. Fleury is currently banking on one or both being in Baron. That is his route. Dia has all these bosses up on the moon to look at.
Dia's gonna have to watch that Edward taunt her again.
Honestly, I don't even remember what the first boss here in Baron was. It's been simply so long. It was Leviathan. Honestly, that's hardly a threat at this stage.
Like we've seen the nope rope. We can handle the danger noodle.
And the buy-in spot does not exactly have a lot of HP, so I'm surprised it took as long as it did. Honestly,
You go from having 2 snake arms to 1 snake.
with 0 arms, that's a direct reduction in arm.
But an increase in snake.
This is true. It's really pushing the ratios.
We're talking about math again. Stop it.
Meanwhile, dolls on the throne, in a trench coat, presumably.
Well, they'll be in a trench coat if it doesn't take out all of them at once.
That is very true. Hopefully, Quake is powerful enough to do this for Fleury. It was quite powerful.
Also, a very simple ribbon room over on Dia's side.
And yet another twin in Baron.
What are we up to, like, septuplets now?
It's substantial. Those guards not guarding much of, well, not guarding key items. Those Zeus gauntlets might be nice to have around.
And Zeus Gauntlet is good for Young. I mean, it's the first logical check to go to on the moon, because you get 2 things instead of 1.
Well, there is a pan from Baron. So Fleury has
even more Yang.
Even more Yang. It's Yang o'clock. But this will nudge Fleury towards the pink tail, which is pretty nice, and does open up that basement throne in Baron. So if there's one of our 2 missing key items there, then Fleury has the edge on that front. Really, Dia is looking just incredibly prepared as far as the party goes. I mean, that's almost 6,000 HP on your monk. That's prepared. But Fleury might actually get objectives done first, which is kind of a key aspect.
Black shirt's not terrible to have for that party.
Yeah, not terrible. Again, not progression. You'll stick that on a palom of your choice, and then that's kind of it. Dia cast rocks and got rocked in return. Clears out the CPU.
Like a hurricane.
Almost in a hurricane manner, yes.
You know, I heard life is like a hurricane.
I've heard it's more like a highway, but I don't know. And Sheila with the goods. That is a magma key. Fleury is in go mode.
Dang, Sheila has the goods.
There were 3. Well, I guess 4 if you count away to the moon. There were 4 items that our runners needed over the course of this seed. Sheila had 2 of them. And the King of Fabul had the 3rd. We got the hook from there, remember? This seed, Asuka is clearly part of Fabul's training program, making sure that our runners are strong enough and durable enough to handle what Free Enterprise can throw at them.
But, for we all know, one of these bosses that she's gonna be fighting on the moon could have the adamant, and she's already got the pink tail, and she's done a grind already. So, Dia could come out on top.
Yeah, just Fleury is in go mode, but that doesn't necessarily mean he's ahead. But really, the big question is going to be, how is he going to get enough levels to feel comfortable with this party?
And he is stuck with an Edward.
Yeah, instead of having a second white mage, he's got some tunes. And well, that's gone.
I love throwing the magma key down the ground when you already have underground access.
It's such relatable writing. I feel like that's exactly what I would say in that situation.
Yeah.
That might also be like the only situation in this game that I could find relatable, as I have not fought any manner of snake, as Dia is currently doing.
I hate it when your snakes explode.
I don't have snakes, so again, I can't relate to that. I can relate to the relief that Dia got hit with that explode on Yang, and therefore everyone survived just fine.
Also, she found a rat
But all
tail.
that
Could be another
Yeah.
check.
I guess you're hoping it's vanilla.
I think she's got, what, two lunar subterranean bosses left?
Yep, it has the Wyvern spot and the Paladin spot.
And then there's also the Bahamut,
Mhm.
if she were to go there.
But yeah, this much preparation, I don't think Fleury's doing a grind at all.
I think we're gonna see some Edward strats.
At an hour 50 in, we're looking at Edward strats on this seed. And really, the only question that remains, well, there's two questions. One, can he pull it off? And two, whose butt will he kick in the process?
Oh gosh, this is a seed. I'm expecting a very trolly Z sprite.
Yeah, I'm trying to think, like, what's a boss that was just like obnoxious in their game that like you want to defeat just because of how annoying they are, not because of how evil they are. Someone in chat mentioned Clippy. Correct. Alicel, you are correct.
You know, I'm half expecting another Yang.
Well, hey, we do know Edward is in the boss sprite pool.
Well, that rat tail only gave her a Murasame, which not great.
Nah, not worth it at all. It has one vicious mom bomb at the Wyvern spot, and that's a bus.
It's a bus. That is a bus. It is the bus that I feel like hit both of our runners tonight.
I suspect this is meant to be the bus from Desert Bus in particular, which, you know what? Scala confirming, this is the Desert Bus, so if you want to talk annoying...
I mean, the seed did go about a quarter of the time that Desert Bus goes.
And it probably felt like you had to constantly nudge it to the side just a little bit, or else it was going to go off the road.
I mean, I feel like that was the Ogopogo fight.
And that's the adamant ore.
Dia's in go mode, but a different go mode.
Oh, this... Well, Dia has a couple trade-ins to do, but,
Someone in chat says, desert bus for nope.
I agree. I agree wholeheartedly. So this comes down to how slow is Eddie strats, and they're slow. They are kind of slow. So Dia might be able to claw this back just by virtue of doing a normal fight.
It is entirely possible. Oh gosh.
So the Baron key to give the chain that our runners were dealt, the Twin Harp was out of the lower tower. That led to the Baron key, which led to the Pan, which led to the Magma key. You can see that a fair chunk of that chain is not in Dia's possession. So yeah, Fleury wound up taking a pretty deep rabbit hole, trying to avoid a moon dip and avoid a drawn-out grind after having to deal with that drawn-out Ogopogo.
Yeah, Dia has go mode because even though Objective 3 isn't marked down, she has everything she needs to do it.
Honestly, I thought she had turned in the pink tail at some previous point. Maybe had, and then
she turned in the rat tail and then noped out back to the moon on a previous save.
But yeah, that pink tail was the first of Sheila's gifts. And that Magma Key was the second. So, when we say that Sheila holds out the goods from time to time, we do mean it.
Checking her speeds to see who to anchor.
Fleury, of course, having to reset the Star Veil after a black hole. That's the kind of cadence that you find yourself in doing these Edward strats.
Yeah, the Edward strat is a constant stream of using Cross, in his case, because that's what he has, reflecting the nuke, hiding, letting the Big Bang happen, unhiding, and then letting the black hole go, reapplying Star Veil, rinse and repeat. It's kind of a slow strat. It'll be interesting to see if Dia can actually, overtake Fleury.
Yeah, honestly, I don't think Fleury had enough of a head start coming in. But you never know. And, Sabin 1001 pointing out in chat, Dia has opened tournaments using Eddie strats and winning. So to now enter the table stage and defeat Edward strats is a certain bookending to all this. As the Big Bang goes out, Dia's Zeromus turns into a bus. Flurry is holding down the cadence of these Edward strats.
Can't believe they called it Busomus and not Zero Bus.
You know, we're gonna have to take that up with the admins.
Come on, Scala. No, but really, shoutouts to Scala, who does most of these sprites. She's awesome.
Yes, there are several hundreds of these, and it can be amazing to see the quality of work and sometimes the comedy of some of the work. There are some hilarious ones.
Also, can we talk about how Dia's Yang has 6,000 HP?
It's simply too much. I don't think Flurry's party has 6,000 HP. Again, I'm not going to do math here, but I'm pretty sure that's under 6,000.
This is intense.
Dia is indeed sticking with those reflect strats, but Yang is going to throw some punches out, so on her side, Zeromus is likely to set off the HP refill that comes after a certain point in the fight. Zeromus' HP is simply too large for the SNES numbers to hold. Flurry, though, these are all reflected attacks by doing Edward strats, so technically he does have less HP to chip through.
Yeah, Yang definitely has the possibility of triggering that HP refill.
I'll be honest, I've not the faintest idea how many Big Bangs Flurry has now dodged through.
I mean, I certainly haven't been keeping count.
It's quite a few.
Because that would be math.
Yes, it's worth saying over and over. Shoutouts to these two runners for sticking with this seed. I would not have blamed anybody for looking at that Ogopogo, looking at the 20-30 minutes we spent on that, if not more. And
oh gosh.
Yeah. Being able to stick through it to this point is impressive. This is the fight, you know?
Like, this seed went so different for both of them once they hit Ogopogo. And, like, it's still converging.
But that is it. That is a flash on Dia's screen.
Ooh.
That
Wow.
butt is sinking into the ether of space.
Goodness.
And that is Dia winning this match with an official time of 2 hours, 3 minutes, and 18 seconds.
Yeah, just, Eddie Strats versus a grind. It gave Dia enough time to catch up.
Yep. And we do have Dia here in the booth. Dia, GG. Congratulations on holding it out through that slog.
Thank you.
Yeah, congrats. That was amazing.
Yeah, you have to just give it up for Oscar on this one. That was evil.
I was gonna say, do we have any words for Asuka that can be said on this restream?
Well done.
So what was kind of your headspace with the Ogopogo fight? Were you considering picking up another Young, any other character, and like other approaches that you could have taken, or were you just completely set, like this is going to work eventually?
The headspace was basically just screaming on repeat.
Relatable.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
But I knew that approach would work. I got a little unlucky that second try, but then the third try it worked, and we got through it.
I also want to ask about after you get underground, done the tower, you're sitting on that darkness crystal, that twin harp. How you decided on which route to take at the end? Doing that grind when you did it, settling on that party when you settled on it.
Basically, at that point, I knew Val was out of the pool, so that wasn't going to be a problem. Reflex Strats would be the quickest way to get through Threemus, and Twin Harp with my party wasn't going to be quick or easy unless I got nuke. So at that point, it was kind of just, I have to grind in order to get through any spot left, Moon, Harp, or Famous. I could have done the Assure without grinding, but it would take forever. So just grind, get that over with, and then start knocking things out.
Yeah, of course, that Ashura ended up having nothing of particular interest. Another question that I have, 6,000 HP on Yang. Is that enough HP?
I think we can go higher.
Science thinks it is possible.
Yeah, I didn't actually mean to bring him up, but it worked out in the end.
Yeah, he got some swings in, made the fight go that bit faster.
Honestly, I think it was more important during that Baigen, just having that giant HP pool to soak up hits, and he dealt decent damage with those power punches there too, so I'll take it.
You definitely take those.
And since it was mentioned earlier, how does it feel like Fleury is clearing the seed out using the Edward strats that I know has done you so well in past tournament matches? How does that feel seeing that balance of strategies working?
I'm glad I wasn't the one doing any strats. After this kind of a seed, just having to do like focus for so long on that, it's going to be hard.
Well, I mean, the seed threw plenty of bards at you. The opportunity was there.
Also, doing any strats with the Terra armor does not feel good.
Yeah. But yeah, GG. Congratulations on the win, Dijon. Any other things you want to ask Dia? Anything else you want to bring up?
I think you pretty well covered it.
Thank you both for the commentary. Thank Oscar for the awful seed, and thank yourself for tracking.
Yes, well, congratulations again to Dia as Fleury's bus also descends into the desert. Finishing out those Edward strats, coming in with a time of 2:08:25. We'll see if his nerves and anger has chilled enough and he's willing to come in and talk as well. And yes, it looks like we do have FF4FE in here. Flurry GG.
Thank you. That's you.
I'll ask you the same thing I asked Dia. Do you have any words for Asuka that we could share on stream?
So, what I kind of want to see now is, I know PK's been posting a lot of memes. What I need him to do is to go grab a recap from Tekken 7 training mode, where Asuka is in Tekken 7 is doing the 10-hit combo, and just have all of us racers in the receiving end of that, because that just like it's bad enough when you go in and you're like, okay, Asuka's rolling your seat, this could be a problem, and then Scholar Kitty's in there doing the admin stuff, and I'm like, oh no. And then Allie pops in to say hi, and I'm just like, oh dear God. The Order of the Spoon is going to put together all of their dark arts power and just absolutely obliterate any expectations I had for the scene. I even told General Chaz, like, I'll see you guys in 3 hours, and had I not managed to get pretty lucky on overworld key item locations, that wouldn't have been too far off.
You know, folks get a reputation in this community.
Yeah. So, I mean, I guess the obvious thing would be that hook fight. I kind of went in. I knew the ogres were going to be a problem. I thought maybe Rosa could one-shot. But no, all right, let's just see who it is. And as soon as I saw Evil Wall, I'm like, all right, I don't feel like dealing with the. We've all done Evil Wall at that spot. I'll just grab Edward, whatever. And I'm going to pick up characters, and I'm like, I should probably take the Yang, but I have an Avenger, I have a Dragoon Spear, I have a 5th character slot. I got greedy, and I'm like, I just really want to not have to take this Yang. There's a 50-50 chance, like either it's Ogo, bummer, or it's Pale Dim, and I can make do with Pale Dim. I have 2 Palums, just bluff, blink, and then go. And as soon as Ogo showed up, I was just like, and I think the big mistake was actually just not resetting out and going to grab Yang and start to get levels anyway. Crystal Sword and Evelyn Castle, LOL.
Of course.
Instead, thinking that, hey, maybe I can pull this off. And it looked like 5 minutes into that fight, like, hey, okay, maybe I can do this, and then the wrong punch. And that was kind of that. So, like, other than that train wreck of a fight, I thought everything else went pretty well. I chickened out a little bit on the Edward plus help. I was getting a lot more damage in than I thought it would, and I was worried I would actually tip.
Yeah, well, I mean, that Ogopogo fight was nasty for both of you. There was very little you could have done. And as someone had pointed out afterwards, you were about 16, 17 minutes behind in actually getting underground, but you ended up only 5 minutes behind. So everything after that Ogopogo fight was actually going pretty swimmingly.
Yeah, if you're telling me 16 minutes, I actually thought it was a whole lot more than that.
No, like I said, it was brutal for all parties involved.
Yeah, it was pretty bad. I actually thought I was a lot more behind, and when I saw, I know Dia will, I won't say she'll fade Dwarf Castle, but I know it's not like high on the priority list for her. And then when I saw Harp, I was like, all right, I kind of got to take a chance here. There's no way I'm not like massively behind, and I just have to hope that everything is behind this Harp. And sure enough, it was. And I was like, oh, wait, do I have a chance? I might actually be the first one into the Z fight. It's just too bad it's going to take 15 minutes.
I mean, you were first in Z fight, you were first in Go mode, and yeah, that magma key being at the end of a pretty long chain. Like, that was a scary rabbit hole to go down, but it paid out.
Yeah, I think in the end I needed Adamant to not be on the moon. And it was,
Yeah.
so oh well. But like
Yeah, and just the fact that Eddie's strats take so much time to do.
yeah, I thought about doing a giant grind and doing like a 6x2 or somewhere in that neighborhood because I had 10 key items. But I thought I could, with the help, I could at least get the Z fight down at a point where, had I done a grind and then gone in, it would have been about a wash. And I think I kind of did that. So I think Edward plus help was the right call at that time.
Well, I mean, at the end of it, it gave us an exciting finish. It gave us both of you in the Z fight at the same time. And that's the kind of ending that we do love to see, even if that Ogopogo and that evil wall will scar us for ages.
Yeah, not a fan of that King Queen Evelyn spot. As is commonly known, I'm not a fan of it. But I shouldn't have said anything in general chat. I'm like, I generally don't get terribly tilted, but if you see Ogo or Evil Wall there, then I'm going to have a problem. And wouldn't you know, they were both there.
And once again, you can thank Ostica for that.
That's okay. It's just one race. You know, we got 5 more. No shame in losing to Dia at all. She is absolutely one of the favorites to win this whole thing. And the competition at this level is, really high. So I figured I could have gone 6-0. I could go 0-6. There's a lot of good runners here. So just at the risk of sounding too sports cliche, one race at a time, and we'll go into the next one, which I'm kind of thinking is going to be later in this week.
Well, hey, we'll always take a good sports cliche here. So, again, GG's congrats on completing that seed that seemed almost incompletable at times. And a best of luck on your upcoming matches.
Yep. Thanks, guys. I appreciate all the time you took to moderate over this mess of a seed. And, I appreciate all the volunteer work that goes into this. And, yeah, look forward to the next one.
All right, and with that, I do believe we are all sorted, all set with today's match. Thank you all again for watching. Thank you to Asuka for rolling that seed. I guess we'll say thank you. You definitely made that happen. And Alizel handling the tracking when we had things to track. So, Dijon, I'll let you have the last words and send us on out.
All right, I do believe we are gonna take this bus over to Lock Cole Live tonight. Who's practicing some table seeds? So, and just a reminder. As always, when you go over, don't spoil it, because if you do, we'll find you, and we know where Ogopogo is.
Until next time, thank you all. Have a good night.